What's up, guys? Not Satan here. I passed the 9-month milestone a couple days ago, so I thought it's about time I do my monthly update. I know in my 9-month update video I said I wouldn't be doing these update videos too often, but then when I think about it, when I first started, it would have been nice if there was a lot more update videos for me to refer to as beginner, right? So I'm hoping any beginners out there can find the material I make, the content I make, to be useful for their own immersion journey, right? So the numbers. What do the numbers mean, Mason? So cumulatively, so in total, up to the time of recording, I've had 766 active hours, 176 reading hours. I've made 5,903 cards, 192 hours on Anki, 217 passive hours, 24 hours on grammar, which means that up till now I've spent a total of 1,375 hours on Korean. So that means that in terms of the past 30 days, I've spent 99 hours doing active immersion, 19 hours on reading, 800 Anki cards, 29 hours on Anki, 15 passive hours, and then 1 month on grammar. So that means that for this month, the last 30 days, I've spent a total of 163 hours on Korean. So in terms of my general schedule, I think because the new semester has begun, and then I have some small side projects here and there with other people, so I don't have as much time as I did have during winter break, right? So no more 10-hour days. Some days I only have 1 hour of immersion max, right? But that's no biggie. So in terms of SRS, I'm still doing 25 cards a day, same as usual. And then I think in terms of how many cards I get to delete when I import new cards into Anki, Morphman, the tags about 80%, 70 to 80% of them as 0T cards. So I mean, that's pretty good. Like, if the stuff I'm importing in is about 60 to 70% known, then I think that's a pretty good sign. Anki still takes about an hour a day, so that includes repping my reviews and then sentence mining, right? So that's just 1 hour. I think that's not too bad. I mean, I do it in the morning, right? So it's not a big deal. So I think a big update is grammar. So I think I'm finally done with grammar. I finished the Korean Grammar in Use intermediate book about 10 days into this month. And then I couldn't take the advanced one because the grammar points were pretty obscure. And then I was thinking about reading How to Study Korean again, but I don't know. I just can't take the writing. You know what? I think, yeah. So I'm done with grammar so far. I'm probably gonna go back to grammar study probably in a couple months, because I think right now I don't have anything which I'm like insane gaps in my knowledge, right? So I can search stuff that I don't know, but then most of the time I feel that right now vocab is my main issue, not grammar. So in terms of reading, let's see. I think because reading is something that takes time, right? I mean, it's something that you have to actively do, because even when you're actively immersing, in terms of watching videos, you don't have to do any effort, right? It just goes in your eyes, goes in your ears, and you're done. But reading, you have to kind of work with the text, right? I'm at that kind of stage. So because the semester started, I'm not reading as much as I should be. So previously I read a bit over an hour a day, but now, if I'm lucky, I can manage about 40 minutes ish. But I think that's also because some of the web novel content I'm reading is very it's quite long, right? So I have to read it in one sitting. So I'm kind of procrastinating on that. I know I talk a lot about reading, right? But sometimes, like, if it's a very long chapter, I'm kind of procrastinating, because it's just basically sitting down and just reading for 40 minutes, which I know it sounds fun, but it's quite difficult if you're like me. But I'm still quite happy, because I had a pretty cool thought a couple days ago. It's that web novels is something that, I don't know, people around my age, I guess, or maybe kids in school, it's something that natives actually read, right? So it's not something that they're forced to read. It's something that they read for leisure, for fun. And now I have the ability to do what natives are doing for fun. I think it's a huge boost in motivation, if you think about it. So even though it's I'm not getting it 100%, but the idea that I'm doing an activity which a native is doing, it's pretty fulfilling, I think. And then recently, sometimes, if I can't wake up in the morning, I might read some webtoons. But I mean, I don't read webtoons officially. Like, I don't read it for learning. So maybe I might read like one or two episodes for webtoons, like, in a week, if I'm free. But I think, okay, then because I have less active listening, I actually found that my passive numbers gone up in the past 30 days, because there's some times when you're studying, or I put some of my course content into Anki, right? So sometimes I can just put something in the background when I'm doing some exercises, or if I'm doing just some very like data analysis stuff. I can just put something in the background, right, to listen to. So I found that, yeah, passive, but it's not that much more. So just a little bit, but I guess every little bit helps, right? So then now the grand finale. In terms of active immersion, a cool thing that I found is that I'm starting to hear lyrics in songs. So I didn't really notice this previously, but recently I've been hearing the lyrics. So obviously not the whole song, but then there are some lines, right? That it just makes sense now. I mean, obviously the stuff I listen to is not, it's not very deep stuff, but it's like I can hear it. Like, it makes sense, which I think is cool. It's these small wins that keep me going. So I'm skipping a lot of boring content now. I think I talked a little bit about this in my 8-month video, but recently I'm more in terms of content, I'm more strict now, right? So if I'm not into it, right, if maybe 2 minutes into the video, if I'm already thinking about doing something else, I'll just skip it, because it's just not worth the time anymore to watch low level interest stuff, right? So if I feel that I have to watch it, I'll watch it. If I don't, I'll just cut it out. I'll just delete it from my playlist, because there's no point, right? But I mean, obviously, of course, I'm watching K-pop content, right? So it's not epistemology. it's some basic stuff, but it's still fun. It's still fun, yeah. So yeah. But active in terms of the hours, I don't have the whole day anymore to pick stuff, right? So recently I don't have time to watch dramas. I'm just watching stuff that comes up on YouTube. So in just my subscriptions, I add everything to watch later, and that gives me about 2 hours of content a day, and sometimes a little bit more, right? So it carries to the next day, but overall it's still about 2 hours a day. So it's not much, but it's honest work. So in general, what do I think about the past 30 days? I think it's pretty cool that actually, although I'm not immersing like crazy right now, in a sense, my current routine for immersion, other than the SRS and watching stuff without English subtitles, it's exactly how I would live my life if I wasn't immersing, right? So if I wasn't learning immersion, I would be doing everything that I'm doing now, except for Anki and watching without English subs. So when I think about this, it means that, because I'm gonna pretty much, I foresee myself doing this sort of thing for about another year or two, right? So essentially, I'm living my life, but instead of just seeing things as entertainment, now I'm actually learning something from it, which is pretty cool. And recently I've been feeling like a little Korean toddler, a little Korean child. So of course I'm not a Korea boo, but I mean, it's pretty cool because previously, I think, maybe halfway into my 9th month, I sort of had this epiphany. It's like I was listening to something, and then it's like it was some random podcast, right, or some random thing on my passive listening playlist. It's like everything entered my ears as language, and so I noticed that it wasn't. I was just trying to fill in the gaps, right? So it was like a sentence, and then in the middle there was a big gap of the vocab and the rest of the sentence. So I was trying to fill in that gap. So in terms of vocab, so I feel like right now I'm no longer the language is no longer foreign, right? It's a language I know, but it's just I'm not there at a high level yet, right? So as opposed to not knowing the language as a foreign language, right? Whatever, but you get what I mean. And then I think I've definitely gained a lot of perspective in the past 30 days, because I keep forgetting to focus on the big picture still. I think this is still something that I have to work on. It's because people, in terms of learning stuff, right, people are used to seeing things on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, month-to-month basis, right? People don't really see the big picture, especially when they're learning a foreign language. So I've been just completely, I've had to completely just rework my perspective on the whole language learning project, because there's definitely more to life than just learning a language, right? You're not gonna die if you don't learn a language. So I don't have to go that crazy, because if I zoom out of what I've been doing, right, I see that if I just be patient a little bit more, I'll get to a good point, right? So I think I'm definitely hoping that in the future I can focus on the big picture more. I think that's probably the most important thing I have to do. So what are my goals for the future, for the next 30 days? I think it's good that I reflect and I make new goals. So I think for the next 30 days I want to read more. I have to read more. I think this is a non-negotiable. If I don't read more, I'm just putting gains on the table, right? Leaving gains on the table. So I'm hoping that I can read at least an hour a day, or maybe just 45 minutes a day, every day for the next 30 days, because I'm still reading. In terms of reading, it's not the easiest thing for me, right? So I have to practice reading and make sure I can get a lot of the vocab in my brain, because that's the best way to learn, right? If the best way to learn is to read and I'm not reading, then what am I doing? Right? So and then another goal is I want to upload more videos to help the immersion beginners, because I think it's a good trade-off, because even if I'm immersing less, if I can make more content, even if just one person finds it useful, then I think it's a huge win for me already, because I really want to make sure that the Korean immersion community can grow, because I think right now it's probably the best way to learn a language, and I think it's safe to say that 99% of the Korean studying community is not immersing, right? So if I can get 90%, if I can just convert people to the immersion path, I think less people are going to give up on their dreams, right? And more people are going to find success in terms of learning a language. And then another goal I think is that I want to force myself to read more lingual definitions, because I think it goes back to the whole reading thing, right? But I'm very lazy when it comes to reading. So even when it's a dictionary definition, if it's monolingual, I found that a lot of times I force myself to read a definition, and then I know it, right? But then a lot of times, especially in the morning, I don't really want to spend an extra 10 seconds, right, or extra 5 seconds to read a definition. So I just end up going for the my native language definition. So So if I can, because I know that if I just keep practicing reading the definitions, I can definitely become monolingual. I can probably finish the monolingual transition by the end of the year. And yeah, guys, remember, kids, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, keep immersing.